Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to the episode of Way of the Underhive. This series is dedicated to helping brand new players to Necromunda build their starting rosters and learn more about the game mechanics of their favorite gangs. And on today's episode, we will discuss playing a brand new narrative gang that I like to call the Dust Wall Extermination Squad. It is a gang of private military contractors who exterminate any threats entering or leaving the Secundan Exclusion Zone in the Hive Secundus campaign setting. We will discuss the gang's inspiration, its narrative background, provide two 1,000 credit starting rosters for your very first campaign, give hints for tabletop tactics, and provide campaign development for your games of Necromunda. Now, because this video will be a little bit more of a deeper dive, I will put timestamps in the description box down below so that way you can click and navigate to the part of the video that interests you the most. So let's talk about the inspiration on this one. So the inspiration for this narrative list actually comes from one of my viewers. The viewer channel's name is the Trader Guardsman 5231. This individual was actually talking about how they needed to create a list and they were kind of struggling because it was brand new to Necromunda. Now they did have a House Grey military attaché and they plan on using some Cadian as well as some Kasarkan type miniatures in their gang as well, and they basically wanted a list that they could use in their native background. So Trader Guardsman 5231, if you're watching this video, you're the guy who gave me the idea to make it, so I hope this video really helps you out as well. Now when it comes to this video, I actually made two lists. I made an Archeo Hunters list as well as a Malstrain Alliance list for those of you guys who want to use this list for the Hive Secundus, and we'll talk about exactly each of these lists and break them down by narrative, their gameplay style, their starting rosters, how to use them on the tabletop, as well as campaign development. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about list number one. So for list number one's background narrative, these guys are a Dust Wall Extermination Squad. These are the guys that are pretty much patrolling around the dust wall that separates the Hive Secundus Exclusion Zone from the rest of the planet. Now for those of you guys who are unaware of the narrative of the Hive Secundan narrative for the campaign setting, pretty much there was another Hive city called Hive Secundus that used to be the crowning jewel of achievement for Necromunda. It got infested with some Gene Stealer Xenos breeds in there, so because of that, they had destroyed the entire city and they basically cordoned off the entire city as well as the surrounding area from the rest of Necromunda, and they used this thing called the Dust Wall to do it. Now, planetary defense forces, militias, as well as private military contractors pretty much revolve around this wall to make sure that no one comes in or out. They're not supposed to be there, and that's what these guys are supposed to be. They're led by a House Grey military attaché. It's kind of like a subcontract for the private military contractors with House Grey because that's what they kind of do for Necromunda as well. And the job, of course, is exterminate any violators of the law. So they actually go around patrolling around the Secundan Exclusion Zone. They sometimes go into Hive Secundus itself to deal with issues. And at the same time, they try to stay rich by, kind of making some money on the side for themselves, because you might as well when you're out there. So list number one relies heavily upon fire maneuver. It's a very tactical style gameplay with using suppressive fire with assault element, with the supporting elements, and then flanking with assault elements. So for those of you guys who are looking more of a realistic kind of tabletop kind of tactical gameplay, this is the list for you guys as well. The idea for you is to try to catch your enemies in a crossfire and try to dominate that way, and then assault through and finish off anybody who's left alive. So now that we're going to talk about the gameplay real quick, let's talk about exactly what the gang's contents are going to be. So list number one is going to be the Dust Wall Extermination Squad, starting roster for Necromunda Hive Secundus at 2024. Now the allegiance we're going with this one is our Archeo Hunter allegiance. So these are the guys, this is supposed to be them back when they're actually defending the wall and actually doing their job and preventing anybody from going inside of it. It's going to be built around a House Grey Outcast gang, which is a Noble House Alliance, because the Trader Guardsman, the viewer, actually has that already for their gang, so we're going to use that to lead their gang. This gang has lots of firepower and lots of shooting attacks in it, so that way you can actually be pretty good that way. It's also got pretty decent survivability with some pretty decent armor as well to keep your fighters alive, and the range of fire that we're talking about here is pretty good. You can go anywhere from close quarters battle all the way to long range shooting if you needed to, depending on the situation, how you basically use your troops. And because you're also House Grey Outcast gang, you do have the special rule, the Finest Ordnance, and basically what that means is that the fighters in the gang can reroll any ammo checks they're required to take. So that's going to be really nice for you guys, especially if you need to make those ammo rolls for like the high ammo rolled areas, like plasma guns, for example, or for grenades for your weapons. So that's going to be a nice way to actually make sure that you have enough weaponry to actually fight in the battle. So up first, let's go and talk about the leaders of this gang. So your leader is going to be a Kriegmeister, which of course is the leader of the military attaché. This guy's going to cost 240 credits. He's a leader with a mastermind archetype. He's also got a light carapace armor for that 4-up armor save. He's got a bolt pistol, which is a powerful strength 4 shooting attack, which you can also use in close combat with sidearm trait, as well as a power sword. So this guy will be striking at strength 4 on these attacks in close combat. Plus the only thing that could parry a power sword is another power weapon, so it makes it even a little bit deadlier as well. He automatically comes with the overseer ability, which means he can do an activation for fighter to take a leadership test and make that fighter do 2 sets of activations, which could be really helpful as well. And because he is a mastermind archetype, we're given the Medicae skill. Now this leader is going to be more of a support leader, pretty much using Overseer most of the time in order to get things accomplished, using Medicae in order to take away flesh wounds and wounds for your fighters who are injured, and at the same time just pretty much, you know, kind of controlling the battlefield that way. He does have a really good kit to defend himself if he should get attacked, but really you're using the span Overseer as well as Medicae for the most part. He also has the Eye for War special ability, which means that he can actually add 1 or -1 to scenario rules, so that can help you out a little bit to a little bit more survivable. Now the attaché also comes with the Jägerkin, which is the Kriegmester's bodyguard. Now the Jägerkin is going to cost you 100 credits. This is going to be another ganger in your gang. He's also got mesh armor for 5 armor save, as well as a combat shotgun with salvo and shredder ammo, so that we got that really good high strength shooting attacks. He's also packing a last pistol as well as a marksman skill. My suggestion to you is actually have the Jägerkin kind of stick around the Kriegmester at all times, so that way the Kriegmester is actually protected. At the same time, the Kriegmester can also do group Overwatch activation with the Jägerkin if need be. After that, you'll have 2 Outcast champions. Outcast champion 1's going to cost you 220 credits. He's got a gunslinger archetype. He's also packing mesh armor for 5 up armor save, as well as a plasma gun, because plasma guns are exceptionally deadly. He's also packing a last pistol for a backup weapon, and as well as using it for close combat if need be, as well as photo goggles to see in all visibility conditions. And at the same time, they have the fast shot ability, so that they can fire with their plasma gun twice, because having the ability to rapid fire twice with plasma guns is absolutely punishing. Now, Outcast champion number 2 is going to cost you 185 credits. He's got the mastermind archetype for this fighter. Also packing mesh armor for a 5 armor save, and they're packing a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades for obvious reasons. Having that 3-inch blast template with the frag grenades are really powerful. Crack grenades are good for high toughness targets or high value targets with multiple wounds. He's also packing a last pistol for a backup weapon that you can also use in close combat, as well as photo goggles to see in all visibility conditions. And we're giving this fighter the Overwatch skill, so that way they can interrupt enemy activations by opening fire with a grenade launcher, which is all kinds of fun to do to your opponents. Now from there, we're going to have 3 Outcast Hive Secundus for this game. Outcast Hive Secundus number 1's going to cost 60 credits. Got mesh armor as well as a las gun. Same thing with Outcast Hive Secundus number 2. Exactly the same way as 60 credits with mesh armor as well as a las gun. Now then, you also have an Outcast Hive Secundus number 3's going to cost you 85 credits. This guy's got mesh armor with shotgun and solid and scatter ammo, so that they got powerful close range shooting as well as a last pistol for a backup weapon. The Trader Guardsman also had a request to actually have a Rogue Doc in his gang, so because we're including a Rogue Doc hanger on, which is extremely important, for 50 credits, this person's packing a last pistol as well as a Medicae kit as well as a Medicae skill. This fighter is going to be extremely important because that way if you have suffered any critical injuries, you'll be able to recover that character on a medical escort mission without having to spend credits to save them. Rogue Docs are worth their weight in gold. Now because you are an Archeo Hunter gang, you do have an allegiance with the Abyssal Ferryman team. Now this Abyssal Ferryman team is going to be a Tinker Enclave, and with that Tinker Enclave you get this special reward chest, which means at the end of each cycle you earn D6 times 5 credits worth the weapons and war gear for free. So up to 30 credits right off the bat that you can spend for weapons and war gear. You could get things like sidearms, for example, hot shot, last pack, specialty ammunition, photo goggles or flares, whatever you might need in order to help kit out your game that has a small credit amount. This could be a nice way to actually help you out, because having extra 30 potentially up to 30 credits every week is just a great thing to have. Now with your Ferryman team, your Ferryman skippers, we're going to have the following characteristics. Taking the characteristics of 5-inch movement, 4+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, 3 attacks, 7 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, as well as 7 intelligence. This guy automatically comes with mesh armor for 5 up armor save. We're going to increase that armor save up to 4+ by giving them armored undersuit, and they're also packing a combat pistol, which is a combination of both auto pistol as well as a hand flamer. Auto pistols are just good general purpose sidearm weapons, and a hand flamer, of course, is a strength 3 template attack, which is what we're really using that weapon for. He's also packing a power sword as well to give him +1 to his strength in close combat, and when combined with his auto pistol as well as his power sword and his 3 attacks base, he's going to be actually striking at 6 attacks every single time he charges in close combat. And we're also going to give this guy fast shots, that way if you're within range you can actually fire that hand flamer twice, which makes it even deadlier. After that, we have a Rig Hand. The character's going to have a 4-inch wind allowance with 4+ weapon skill, 5+ ballistic skill. It's got 5 strength, 4 toughness, 3 wounds, 6 initiative, 2 attacks, 10 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, as well as 9 intelligence. I like to call this stat line the Ogryn stat line, and so it kind of makes sense because a lot of Imperial Guardsmen and Planetary Defense Forces use Ogryns as additional muscle for their gang, and so that's how we're going to use it for this guy. He's got flak armor for a 6 up armor save, and he's also packing a combat shotgun with salvo and shredder rounds. Just pretend that it's basically an Ogryn-sized ripper gun, because that's pretty much what it does. And plus, that's a really powerful weapon. His ballistic skill is skills 5, so it's not going to really matter too much because if you use Shredder ammunition, you get to use that template blast, which is all kinds of powerful. Plus, he's packing a power maul, which is going to be using for close combat, which you really use to punch people in the face with that. And we're giving him the hip shooting skills, so that way he can actually move twice and open fire. Now, you might be thinking, well, Commander Chiefscape with hip shooting, it's going to give him Ballista skill 6 because you lose 1 Ballista skill point when you do hip shooting, but if you're using Shredder ammo with that template weapon, it automatically hits, so no harm, no foul. And lastly, your Ferryman Steersman's guys automatically comes with the stub gun. We're also giving this guy the fast shot skill so that we can use it on his weaponry. He's also driving a custom rig with a tracked locomotion so that we can take care of all terrain types, as well as a transport cage in order to protect your passengers, and a heavy stubber because heavy stubbers are amazing, and having the ability to use that is going to be extremely important for your gang. And that pretty much makes up list number 1's contents. So when it comes to playing this game for your tabletop tactics, Outcast champions, as well as Scum number 1 and 2, as well as your steersmen represent your support fire teams. These are the guys who will be laying suppressive fire towards your enemies, using the long range shooting with their last guns, as well as their plasma gun and grenade launcher, as well as the heavy stubber. Meanwhile, your Kriegmaster, your Jägerkin, as well as Scum number 3, as well as your skipper and your rig hand make your assault fire teams. So you got 2 combat shotguns in this group, as well as 1 regular shotgun. You got a hand flamer with a guy with fast shot. You have your Kriegmaster, of course, who could be using Overseer on either the Jägerkin or on the rig hand or on the skippers, so that way you can get more attacks with those guys. And of course, the Jägerkin is also protecting the Kriegmaster from being attacked. These guys are going to come in on an exposed flank and take out people that way as well. The idea here is that you suppress your fire team and you flank and assault with your assault fire team. You do that, catch enemies in a crossfire, and you're going to dominate. Now for list number 1, as your campaign develops, I suggest purchasing photo goggles, infrasights, or flares for your gang because visibility is going to be very important, especially if you get down to the lower levels of Hive Secundus. My also suggestion is to get hotshot last packs, as well as specialty ammo, as well as sidearms and melee weapons for the next priority for your gang. So using that war chest will help you kind of a little bit with your hotshot last packs, as well as specialty ammo. You might be able to get some sidearms with those extra credits. Melee weapons are also very good. Flails would be nice to give you that additional strength attack. Chainswords are also good adoption. Whatever is the most preferred method of close combat for you, I suggest you go with that play style. And that pretty much makes up list number 1. Now your second list has a little bit of a different narrative. Now just like the first list, they are Dust Wall Extermination Squad. They're led by House Gray Military Attaché. Unfortunately though for these guys, as they were actually out on patrol in Hive Secundus in the Secundan Exclusion Zone, they fell victim to the mouse strain while on patrol. So because of that, they are now elements of the Patriarch of Hive Secundus, and they are acting in his name and also for their benefit. So these guys are actually mouse strain alliance guys instead because they got infected. Now the gameplay for this list is very similar to list number 1. It relies heavily on fire and maneuver as well as tactical gameplay, and you want to catch enemies in a crossfire to dominate as well. However, this list is a little bit different because there's a cavalry element in your gang. You actually have a bunch of fighters who are mounted on Wasters dirt bikes, and those guys can actually either fight with their Wasters dirt bikes in scenarios that allow vehicles and mounted fighters, and if you're in a scenario that doesn't require those guys become extra foot soldiers because they can also fight on foot as well. So very versatile cavalry element to actually help out your games in Necromunda. So once again, list number 2 is a Dust Wall Extermination Squad starting roster for Necromunda Hive Secundus for 2024. It has a mouse strain alliance instead, so you will not have access to a Abyssal Ferryman team, but you get additional 400 credits in order to create fighters who are either mounted or have the vehicles. And once again, you also have the House of Graham Outcast gang as well because you have the military attaché leading it. A lot of powerful shooting in this gang, still with some good survivability, and just like list number 1, it's good at all ranges from close quarters battle all the way to long range engagements. So just like with list number 1, you do have the Find as Ordnance special rule, which means that fighters in the game can reroll any failed ammo checks they're required to take, so it's going to be very important for you to use that, especially with this game because you have a lot of grenades in this list. And just like list number 1, you have a Kriegmaster at 240 credits, as well as a Jägerkin at 100 credits. They're equipped exactly the same as your first list, as well as fulfill the exact same roles as list number 1. You also have 2 Outcast champions. Outcast number 1 is going to cost you 220 credits, equipped exactly the same way as your list number 1, and the same thing with Outcast champion number 2. At 185 credits, equipped exactly the same as list number 1 as well, and these guys fulfilled exactly the same roles for your Mouse Strain gang as they would for your Archeo Hunter gang. And once again, you have exactly the same Outcast Hive Scum number 1, 2, and 3, exactly the same price points at 60 credits apiece for Outcast Hive Scum number 1 and 2, as well as 85 credits for Outcast Hive Scum number 3, and they fulfill the exact same role as list number 1. But because you are a Malistry Alliance, you actually have 400 credits to purchase for crews, vehicles, and fighters in the mounted condition. So we're going to actually use that to make your gang even bigger. We're actually getting you 3 more Hive Scum. Now, Outcast Hive Scum number 4 as well as number 5 would cost exactly the same, but 135 credits a piece, but they're equipped slightly different. Outcast Hive Scum number 4 has got a mesh armor for that 5-up armor save, also a last pistol for a backup weapon and as a sidearm attack. They also have frag grenades on this list, so they can lob those around and cause problems, and they're also mounted on a Waster's dirt bike. Outcast Hive Scum number 5 is going to cost 135 credits as well. They got mesh armor as well as an auto pistol this time, frag grenades as well as a Waster's dirt bike, and the Outcast Hive Scum number 6 is also 130 credits. This guy's got mesh armor as well as a stub gun. They also got frag grenades as well as a Waster's dirt bike. Now, the reason why we decided to go with this route so that way when you fight in scenarios that require fighters and mounted and who have the mounted condition or with vehicles, these guys can participate in those battles. And at the same time, if you're ever in a scenario in Hive Secundus where you can't use mounted fighters, well, that's perfectly fine, because what ends up happening is these fighters take their Waster's dirt bikes and they leave them back at home, and they can still participate on the tabletop with their frag grenades as well as their pistols. So we're going to spam that ability to have you have a little bit larger gang than your other opponents because we're not committing a lot of our credits to vehicles. And finally, just like list number 1, you're going to have a rogue doc in this gang. It costs you 50 credits. This guy's got last pistol, Medicaid kill, as well as Medicaid skill. And once again, this guy could be doing medical escort missions every single time one of your fighters take a critical injury without having to make a payment for the medical escort mission as well. And that pretty much makes the list for list number 2. So, the gameplay and your tabletop tactics on this was really pretty simple. Outcast, Champion, as well as Scum number 1 and number 2 are your support fire teams. These are the guys who are actually opening up with their plasma gun, their grenade launchers, with their last guns in order to suppress your opponents. Your Kriegmeister, as well as your Jägerkind, as well as Scum number 3 are the assault element. These guys come in from an exposed flank using their combat shotguns and normal shotgun in order to cause some problems. The Kriegmeister, of course, using Overseer in order to get Jägerkind to do certain things for him as well. Now, your Cavalry element, which consists of Outcast Hive Scum number 4, 5, and 6, they're going to make assault fire team number 2 because these guys are mounted on Waster's dirt bikes, and they will stack from a different exposed flank, so that way you catch an enemy in a 3-ray crossfire. They're being shot from the front by your support fire team and assault on either flank with your assault fire teams. Have your guys swoop in, use your cavalry elements frag grenades to great effect to either suppress and to scatter people on the battlefield. Lastly, a quick word about campaign development for list number 2. Once again, purchase photo goggles and infrasights and flares for your gang as quickly as possible, especially if you get to the lower levels of Hive Secundus, where visibility does become an issue. I also recommend, once again, make the same exact recommendation of buying last packs, especially ammo, sidearms, as well as melee weapons, to give you guys a little bit more survivability with their shooting attacks as well in close combat. And of course, try to equip your gang with grenades as quickly as possible, either frag grenades or blasting charges, incendiary grenades, if you can get those as well. Those are all excellent choices for your gang. So in conclusion, thank you once again to the Trader Guardian 5231. Thank you once again for giving me an awesome suggestion for a new video. This was actually a lot of fun to actually put together, and I got my creative juices flowing, thinking about like a military unit that actually got corrupted and also tries to take advantage of situations with Hive Secundus. It was really fun to actually put that kind of a list together as well. And as of course, this was a combination of both a narrative list as well as a Hive Secundan list. It was a lot of fun to create. So if you guys have any other recommendations, please put them down in the description box, in the comments box down below. If I like your idea, I might make a video for your idea, just like I did for the Trader Guardsman 5231 as well. So that's good for this one, you guys. Because new information is coming down the pike with Hive Secundus all the time, do stay tuned for more information, because as more information and more content is made available to us, I'll of course make videos in order to talk about that. So that's going to do it for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. I'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.